They say there was a time when the northern night was not merely dark, it was alive, and within it there lived a queen who was not born of a mother's womb, but of mist. Before men gave the winter a name, long before kings drew borders in blood, when forests were cathedrals and ice could speak, a city of silence and glass rose between mountains and fjords. There dwelled the one they called the Snow Queen, though her true name could not be spoken without making the wind stop to listen. Her palace was never built, it condensed. Layer upon layer of ice, clear as breath under moonlight, emerged from the earth, pulsing to a rhythm no human drum could follow. At every solstice the walls shimmered with light that did not come from the sky, and wolves lay in the shadows as if guarding an invisible border. Those who wandered too close swore they heard distant bells, though none were ever hung there, only cracks of ice born from the heart of the mountain. And at some hour in the middle of the night, when the constellations remembered their path home, she descended the frozen steps, and the winds bowed. The elders said she had sprung from the first breath of winter, that when the world was still learning to cool, the north begged for a guardian, a goddess with no altar, no priests, no mercy, not to kill, but to contain. For winter without restraint devours, and summer without limit burns the foundation of life. The Snow Queen was the balance, the hand that pulls and releases the breath of the earth. Her face was not beautiful in the way that burns, it was beautiful in the way that freezes. Eyes of an ancient, unnameable blue, skin traced with veins of light, as if silver flowed beneath. Her cloak, made of fur and frost, moved without sound, and wherever its edge touched the ground, fractals bloomed, tiny, perfect kingdoms, mirrors of her will. And when she spoke, her voice did not cross the air, it entered through the skin. All who heard her understood, though none knew why. In those times, whole villages lived by northern hunts and eastern tides. Men raised stones in circles, women aligned bones into talismans, and children ran through pines that seemed like pillars of a temple. At the dawn of the last long winter, before the first king carved his name in iron, the frost came too soon. Herds fled early, fires demanded more wood than existed, rivers sealed under ice, hunger blew down from the mountain's spine. It was then that 9 wanderers, led by a huntress named Ilse, entered the forbidden forest, following trails of ice that did not melt to touch. They sought the Lady of the North, not to worship, only to beg. They carried offerings, a necklace of bear teeth, a polished obsidian mirror, and a gourd of the last summer honey. Ilse was the first to step into the circle where snow never took footprints. She raised the mirror to the sky, and the sky returned the image of a woman who was not yet there. "We come not as invaders," said Ilse, her voice firm but cracked by weeks of hunger. "We come as those who remember the pact. Grant us gentler winds for 3 moons, and we will return to winter what the summer has stolen." The wind stopped as if it had held its breath. The snow around them trembled. The mirror darkened, then blazed. No sound was heard, yet the trees bent, as though a presence brushed past them. The Snow Queen appeared, as if she had always been there. She did not walk. She coagulated, like frost upon glass. "You ask me to betray the balance I protect," she said without moving her lips, "in exchange for promises you do not own." The question needed no answer, but words fell from Ilse's mouth like broken ice. "We do not ask for warmth, only for time, an extension of breath, 3 moons. We'll repay it double on the next night of frost." The queen tilted her head, and the flakes swirled around her like wingless white birds. "Every loan is a debt," she whispered, "and every debt feeds on a soul. Who will offer theirs?" The 9 looked at each other. Some stepped back. Ilse brushed her fingers along the scars on her arm, marks from old hunts, from brothers who never returned. "I will," she said quietly but certain. "Take from me what winter deems just." The flakes slowed until they froze mid-air. For a heartbeat, there was not even the sound of blood. The queen placed her hand upon the mirror. Its surface rippled like a lake under wind. Ilse's reflection multiplied, 20, 100. Each one showed a different fate. Ilse as a mother, Ilse falling through ice, Ilse buried beneath clean snow, Ilse old, telling stories to a grandchild. "There is no mercy without a wound," said the goddess, "but the north loves those who do not bow." And then the impossible happened. The cold withdrew. 3 moons crossed the sky like 3 blades. No wind tore the tents. No glacier bit the boats. The last honey fed the children, and for the first time in many winters, the fires danced without devouring the final logs. Yet every dawn brought a shadow to Ilse's eyes, as though a piece of the horizon were missing. She hunted as before, sometimes laughed, but the dogs sensed it, something glass-like in her skin. At the end of the 3rd moon she rose before any bird's song and went alone. She returned to the forest. The circle lay pure as an altar. The queen awaited her with stairways of ice rising behind her, steps that touched nothing. "The debt calls?" asked Ilse. "The debt calls," said the mistress of the winds. "But it will not claim your life, not today. It will claim your memory." "What memory?" "The one whose face fills your eyes when darkness falls. The name that keeps you standing when the world collapses. Give it to me, and the north shall guard my mercy upon your bloodline. Refuse, and I shall steal the valley's breath." Ilse did not cry, not even at childbirth, her mother once said, had she shed tears. But there, before the speaking ice, her eyes filled and then dried. She said nothing. She only removed from her neck a talisman, 3 twisted linen threads, a small tooth, and a stone the color of twilight. She lifted it. The queen took it between her fingers, and the stone, once warm from skin, turned pale as the moon. "It is done," said the goddess. "But know this. Every mercy of winter is a chain upon the summers to come." Back in the village, as the last frosts returned to the mountains, plants grew strong where no shade had ever lived. Children were born with a faint blue shimmer in their eyes. Wolves came close to fires without biting. Yet no one remembered the name of the man who had promised Ilse a roof and a long life. No one remembered his voice. The chair he had carved with his own hands was there, but seemed made by a ghost. An empty seat at the table burned hotter than the flame itself, and whenever the wind changed, Ilse felt that a trail inside her had been erased. Years passed, and with them came tales of villages that tried to defy the winter with enormous fires, building walls of heat against the night. Armies of torches led by those who swore never to kneel before a season. Along the coast, men of iron boiled water as an insult to the cold, and where humanity raised fire as a banner, the earth answered with ice without warning. Rivers froze at the height of summer. Herds turned to statues under clear skies. Beyond the mountains, a tribe marched into a blizzard with shouts and blades. None returned. Then Ilse understood. The mercy she had purchased had a price beyond her own flesh. The north, offended by mankind's arrogance, walked now with heavier steps. She took the obsidian mirror, an old gift, now silent, and went once more into the forest. The queen was waiting, not as enemy, not as friend, as what she is. "Man has defied the breath I give," she said, while flakes spun like birds calling rain. "They want summer in winter and winter in summer. They plant without looking at the stars. They harvest without listening to the water." Ilse nodded. "Then teach us again." "I do not teach," the goddess said. "I withhold, but absence can also teach." And saying this, she turned her face so that only half was visible. The other half became night. The forest lost its color. Sound retreated into distance. She raised her arm. A gust swept the treetops clean. "When man forgets to look up, I will make him look, with cold. When he forgets to store, I will remind him, with hunger. When he forgets to listen, I will make him pay attention with the song of breaking ice." Ilse trembled, loving her people. "And us. You are bridges. You are the race that speaks with its mouth and forgets that its skin can also listen. Tell what you saw. Keep what can be kept. Hide the rest." The queen lowered her arm. The forest returned. "But the debt still sings," she said. "Take what remains," Ilse answered simply. "There is no courage, only necessity." The queen approached, walking without steps, so near that Ilse saw not her own reflection in those eyes, but an entire ocean beneath unborn stars. "I will not take your life," said the goddess. "You belong to the soil that tries to understand me. I will take your story. No one will remember that you walked to me. No one will remember that you held winter in your hands. And when you die, you will die as those who fulfilled what was due and asked for no applause. Ilsa smiled faintly. A good death. And her smile froze without pain. The goddess blew upon her forehead, and invisible letters vanished from the Book of Men. Ilsa returned to the village with a deer on her shoulder and no glory on other tongues. She lived. She loved what cold allows to be loved. She bore 2 children with eyes of ancient water. She told stories of wolves and rivers, but never the one that mattered. And when she left this world, she left quietly. The trees, they say, groaned like voices whispering thank you. In the years that followed, those who learned to listen to snow prospered. They planted by the ark of the Great Bear, not by clay calendars. They sharpened blades by the breath of frost, not by the ticking of clocks. And when the north exhaled too strongly, they did not raise fists. They opened their barns of stories. The queen, invisible as bedrock, sometimes walked among their tents. Children would stop crying and stare at nothing with great attention. One night, a dog howled in a new tone, and then slept smiling. The city of silence and glass remained untouched for centuries uncounted. Those who ventured too close lost themselves in a maze of white mirrors and returned with hair dusted by starlight. Some claimed to have seen deep within the ice a round chamber where flakes floated forever, each holding a tiny face inside, kings, fishermen, children, as if winter preserved memories not to punish them, but to keep them from breaking. All this happened when the world still remembered how to listen. Then came the era of much speaking. Loud voices, wide ambition, torches that filled the sky with smoke. And still, while the noise grew, there were nights when a thin, lonely music crossed the valley, the sound of a glass bottle when a finger traces its rim. That was the border, the sign that the queen was passing by, gathering the excesses, giving space back to the whisper. And if anyone, in this age of too many words, wonders whether she still reigns, step outside when the air burns with cold, and for a moment stop trying. Lay your hand upon the snow and listen. The wind will tell you without speaking. The skin will understand without translation. The frost will draw upon the wood the ancient letter that rhymes with no haste. Then wolves will raise their heads together. Pines will sigh a deep note, and a shadow in a pale cloak will pass at the edge of your vision. Do not look directly. Do not call. Do not ask for summer in winter or winter in summer. Just listen. Because she is still there. The queen who wants no praise, only respect. The goddess who demands no blood, only remembrance. The mistress of winds who, at the first sign of arrogance, lifts her hand and reminds you, everything breathes, even the ice, even fear, even the stories you try to hide from yourself. And when the north decides it has had enough, you will know. The stars will seem closer. The sound of the world will narrow into a thread. Something will touch the back of your neck with fingers of cold that do not hurt. Then a single word will rise from the silence, not from you. Balance. It will be enough to make you stop trying to set the night on fire. Too little for those who live by noise, but everything for those who still sleep without light. On the last day of the last winter that will remember your name, someone will tell children a story of a woman who walked into the forest and returned without medals. They will ask what her name was. The storyteller's mouth will open, but no sound will come. A soft emptiness will fill the tongue, and only one certainty will remain. The North loves those who do not bow and protects those who pay the right debts. The night will continue. The ice will hum things too vast for any language, and far away where the sky ends inside itself, a palace of glass will breathe with the world. If you close your eyes, you may see its steps, those that touch nothing. And if you breathe deeply, for a single second, you will hear the voice that enters through your skin and says that winter is not punishment. It is warning, it is frame. It is the invisible hand keeping the excess of light from blinding you forever. When you open your eyes, the snow will have drawn her signature upon your window. Do not try to read it. Just feel it. And remember, while you still can, every concession is a debt, every debt a bridge, and every bridge that crosses winter leads to a place where spring is deserved. And if a question lingers in the air cold as a blade, will she return? Answer with the only thing she respects, silence. The wind will do the rest, the frost the writing, the wolves, the choir, and the north, as always, the verdict. Prepare yourself for the next secret. When the night raises a mirror to the sky and ancient stones begin to sing, the story that sleeps beneath circles of stone and opens the path to the stars.